Hello and welcome you all. My dear students, I take this opportunity to present video tutorial on the subject of networking concept and management for PGDCS Semester 2 students. My topic of discussion is comparative study of different networking operating system. So I think the two most important operating system which are available widely, which are available globally. There are Windows NT operating system from Microsoft. Windows NT is a new technology operating system. And second operating system that I have considered is called UNIX operating system, which is the oldest operating system from Sun Microsystem. Well, before we go with comparing the pros and cons or finding the specification of different operating system, so let me give you the brief idea about what operating system is. So operating system is a collection of softwares that manages the computer hardware, computer resources, and provide the common services for all the programs, including the users. So operating system acts as an interface between what are the user demands and how to provide the compatibility between different hardwares. Since we are talking in the context of NOS, networking operating system, hence the most important and the most critical aspect of any network is security. So I think we need to look into the detail of that, whether Windows NT is more secure or Unix is more secure. That we will discuss later on. But before I go with the different comparative modules, I will discuss with you the different modules. So let me give you a few ideas about the kernel, the architecture of the operating system. The most important component of any operating system is called the kernel. Kernel is called the menage. The menage is responsible for executing the code that the user is assigned. So I think it can execute any CPU instruction or any reference to any memory address. So kernel mode is generally reserved for the lowest level and the most trusted function of any operating system. The second most important component of any operating system is called the shell. Shell is called command interpreter. The function of shell is to simply forward the request made by the user, the submitted by the user to the kernel, and it is finally the kernel which is responsible for providing the basic operating system services. These are the device management, then we have the file management services, then third services we're talking about CPU scheduling, and finally the memory management. So if any operating system is managed these four essential services, then we can say that that operating system is called fully made networking operating system. Well, if we just look at the architecture of any networking operating system, then we have the different layers, different segments, different stages. The first stage is called the user application, where the user is working. For other the user is working on the desktop operating system, or the user is working on any mobile operating system. The second component of that architecture is called the input-output management. The input-output management means that what sort of input and output gadgets or the devices, the peripheral we are having, is responsibility of the operating system to provide the accurate management between all the hardware which are plugged into the system. The third important layer of that operating system is called the message interpreter. As I already shared with you that it is the shell which is responsible for interpreting, for translating, for sending your request to the kernel. So I think it is also having its important role. The next layer is called the memory management. So it is up to the memory management modules that decide whether that I should allocate free available resources to the requesting jobs depending upon the priorities. The last but not the least, the component of the kernel architecture is called the process scheduling, called CPU scheduling. Depending upon the shortage of first, or the first come first serve, or round robin scheduling, it is the operating system that decide whether I should assign sort of CPU or any available resources to the user. Now, as we already discussed, that operating system consists of two important kernels. What is called the kernel, other is called the shell. But basically, operating system also having another component which is called the application aspect. Now, as you all know that we are living in a mobile era. So in a mobile era, we're using the various mobile gadgets or various mobile applications. So I think the kind of application the user is running, it is up to the operating system that decide whether the user is allocating the fully resources available. Now, the different services provided by the operating system are the user interface, whether it is a CUI, which is character user interface, or it is a GUI, which is the graphical interface. At the same time, the operating system is also responsible for providing the program execution without any further delay. Third important function of any operating system is called the input-output operations. The operating system should be responsible for transferring data to and from the input-output devices, including the keyboards, terminals, printer, and the storage. The fourth important component of the operating system is called the file system manipulation. In addition to data storage, the operating system should be assigned a specific job to provide the memory management routines depending upon the file being used. Now, another important component of operating system is called the communication between the different processes, the communication different programs, the communication between the different users. In the later phase, we will learn that we are using specific commands in UNIX which decide that whether the user is being assigned different sort of routines or not. And another important function of operating system is the error detection and the correction. Well, now let me compare the Windows NT operating system with your Unix operating system. So I have considered a few specifications. The first specification is called the cost. Second specification is called the developer and the distributions. Third specification is manufacturing. Fourth is called the user interface. Fifth specification is called the uses, the requirement. The sixth one is called the file system support. Then we will discuss company or the developer who is responsible for developing this operating system. The next specification is called whether the user is getting the regular updates from that developer. Next we have the licensing, followed by whether it is a text mode or it's a graphical mode. Then we have sort of the availability of that operating system in the different original languages. Then we have another specification is called default user interface, and finally we have the supported platforms. So in the later video I will discuss with you all the specification. Thank you and have a nice day.